Hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's question time. We are live answering your questions about game development, Unreal Engine, or anything else you want to ask me. Is totally fair game. Hello everyone in chat, hope everyone is doing okay. We almost didn't have a stream tonight. I was ill yesterday, and the day before that, well 2 days before that as well, my internet kept cutting in and cutting out. But fixed that. I'm feeling mostly better, so it's alright. But yeah. Ugh. Close one. But anyway, we are here and we're here answering your questions. So, let's get cracking and jump into Unreal. If you don't know how this works, all you got to do is put your question into chat and I'll answer as many as I can within the hour that we are here. And patrons will get access to this live stream straight after the show. Everyone else will get it 2 weeks later as part of the rewards for the Patreon membership. Become a patron, just head to patreon.com/Ryan Laley. And all you need is a donation of just $1 a month, and you get access to all the videos early before everyone else. And there's other benefits for other tiers as well. Anyway, let's jump in to Unreal. Oh, how are we doing? Right. There we go. We're in. Okay, so first question, Arthur Spears. Ryan, can you go through using the player and game states to show health for teammates on a HUD in a multiplayer game? How to include a health bar over enemy characters when they are not in view? Okay, so this is quite a long topic. We're not going to be able to answer all of it and demonstrate everything. But as for showing health, the server will know everyone's health because damage is handled by the server. Okay, so the server should know everyone's health, and because the server knows everyone else, it can then push that health to everyone's screens. Okay, so that's not too difficult at all. You can just rep notify the health across to all the clients. So when you take damage, rep notify kicks off, and everyone will get their values. As for actually displaying the health bars above their head, that's simple, just getting a HUD and looking at who you're attaching that HUD to and calling that variable up. Now, to include a health bar above an enemy's head, you've got a couple of things you can try. So, the first one is if I make a quick character. And we'll just put in Ash. Okay. And I'll just put a widget component in just for the sake of it. Yeah. And we'll just have I got any default widgets I can give it? Sure, we'll give it the audio fader. So we're going to change this to screen space. So we should be able to see it in the world times at the moment. There it is, and if I hide him, I can still see it, and so forth. Okay, so that is it being shown on the screen the whole entire time. Now, the problem you have is there's a couple of ways you can do. One is you can check if your character was rendered recently. Now, the problem with that is, it's because the widget component is part of that actor, they will be considered for rendering. So, if I were to go into enemy here and on tick do a print string for was recently rendered, this will output true all the time. Okay, but you've probably already seen where this is going because you can see the result on as I typed it in. So rather than using was actor recently rendered, you'll find there's a was component recently rendered, and you want to choose the main mesh of them. So in this case, it'd be that mesh there. Put that in there. Now, hopefully, that should work. Let's take a look. So it's saying true. No. So the problem this method has is that it's not exactly the mesh that's being rendered. It's things around the mesh. It's like it's the bounding box of the character that's being the component that's being triggered. But if say like for turn around like this, it goes false. So if that's the case, what you want to do is not use the widget component and make the widget separate. Which again, I haven't really got access time to really go through and set it all up. But this is what you want to be doing. It was component recently rendered, but don't use a widget that's built onto the character. Use a widget that's separate from the character. And that should solve it. The downside to it though is it does only count the bounding box. So if you've got something like a collision box around it or anything like that, that will also trigger this. So bear that in mind as well. But you can do stuff like that, for example. I normally would put it on the actual widget code itself. It should know who you talk to. Next question. Hey Ryan, any news on the FPS RPG series? Not at this moment. At the moment, we are filming the C++ series. That's underway. Only just started this week. But that's doing its thing. We've got the survival series being filmed at the moment. AI videos being filmed. A fire team still being filmed. There's quite a lot of filming going on, and there's other bits and little surprises as well. So not at the moment. No immediate news anyway. But hopefully soon. All depends on how much real life takes over control of my life. Thanks, Chris. Monu Yadav. Hey everyone, I'm working on a pick and drop item with the help of line trace. I'm facing an issue is when I simulate physics, none of my item is not attached to the character help. Okay, so if you want to attach a physics actor to something, you can't do attach. Okay, so I'll give an example of this. Hold on. Physics. It's not spelled right. I know it is. That's a really bad spelling. Okay. Anyway, cube. We'll just make that the default scene route. 0.3. That's small. Okay. And I'm not going to do a line trace just because of time. But what I'll do is I'll just do an overlap for the character. Capsule collision. Go back to bed. My son has broken into my office again. Yeah, we'll just do that instead, I think. But let's say I walk into it like this. I want to do on overlap. Actually, I just do it on a capsule hit. No, off. Sit down, sit down. Should be in bed. Yeah, begin overlap. We are then going to check whether the actor here is simulating physics. No, component is simulating physics. Simulating physics. So one thing that's often misunderstood is that when you enable physics on something, it's not the actor that's actually physicking about, it's the component that is physicking about. When you turn on physics, the component actually detaches itself from the actor's root. So that's why you probably find an issue with the attachment. So if it's simulating physics, yeah, we're going to attach component to component. We'll attach to the capsule, and we'll do keep relative. Okay. So, not keep relative, keep world, and that one will do keep world as well. Okay. So. Should be able to. If I just make this box here, simulate physics, and drop that into my scene. Okay, and I walk into it, you'll see nothing happens. Okay, now the reason why it doesn't happen, as I said, because it's separated from the thing. So what you need to do instead is use a physics handle in its place. So a physics handle allows you to pick up physics-based objects. Physics handle. Or if you want, you can do a physics constraint if you want to do one-to-one grab of it, but you can do physics handle instead. And the physics handle, I've got videos on it already, but rather than attaching it, you tell the physics handle here to grab it. So grab component at location. And we're going to grab the overlapped component. And the grab location is going to be the location of the hit, I guess. I'll just guess location. Yes. Location. World location. Okay. So that's going to grab it. Once it's grabbed it, then need to update it all the time. So that'll be on a tick event. You're going to get the physics handle. Grabbed component. Ooh. We'll see if that's valid. Hello. And if it is valid, you set its location. No, what was it? Set. No, what was it from? From this one, I think. Then set location. Yeah, set target location and rotation. We'll just do target location. Okay, and the target location would be wherever I want to put it. So let's say I put a scene component at the end here. Put that there, for example. And I'll just take that scene component out, get its world location, and pop that into there. That should do it, hopefully. Oh, hold on. Make sure I'm actually hitting it. Add breakpoint. No. That would help. Is this thing set to ignore it? Maybe. Vision presets. Overlap all. Yeah, that should be fine. Why is that not triggering that? Hold on. That's a world dynamic object. This should be fine with that. Yeah. Why is that causing it? It's something. Wait, point to that one. So we're getting it now. Why is that not coming? That's a capsule component. Hold on a ticket. What's going on here? Stop this. Print string. This overlapped component in there. Capsule. Yeah. Oh, I've put the wrong one in. Sorry, stupid. It's not overlapped component, it's other component. That one we want. So, right, let's take that off because I'm going to break that. There you go. Okay. Yeah, so the error I had there is I picked the wrong component. To show you what I mean, is when you get through the overlapped component, this refers to the component that's doing the overlapping. So the one on your character, this one in the brackets. The other actor is who you're hitting, and the other component is the component of the actor that you're hitting. There we go. Sonny's asking, how did you move all the selected pins? If you hold down Control and click, you can click and drag around connections. So there you go. So yeah, if you're dealing with physics, use a physics handle instead. Have a lot nicer time with it. No problem, G4A. I'm glad you enjoyed the AI videos. Many more to come. Unrealistic. Hi, how can I implement the Unreal Engine vehicle template into the third person template? I added it to my project and set it up so I can enter the car, but it won't drive any ideas. Chances are you haven't enabled the plugin. So the vehicle that if you're using from the template is using a plugin called the Chaos Vehicle, and in the third person template it's turned off by default. Turn this on and then you can start messing about and actually get things moving. So yeah, you need that. Next question. You're welcome, Mnemonics. Lux, how would you go about creating a grappling hook mechanic? Like shooting an invisible ray that attaches to a mesh, and it'll attach the mesh and swing based on the length. Check out my video on grappling. I already made a video on how to do this. It's fairly simple. So yeah, check it out. It's already on the channel. Gaming Man. So the chase behavior tree, the NPC will just stand there, not chase, and followed to tutorial and no good. I even tried changing the chase task to move to task and nothing. Define player works though. My question is, what could I have missed? I'm sure it's something simple. Thank you for everything you do. Okay, a couple of things you can check. First of all, obvious one is to check that you've got a nav mesh in there. So double check that your nav mesh is in there and it is actually covering the ground where your enemy or character AI is going to run and run to. So you can check that with the P key and it'll highlight in green where it can and can't run. So make sure it's there first. If it's not inside that green, it's not going to be able to run to it and therefore will fail to run and won't do anything. Next thing you want to do is when you're playing the game, So if I drag this enemy out here, push play, and if I push the apostrophe key while looking at him, you can see here his little devil thing is red. Okay, that red means it's not running any AI tasks. Double check your one, make sure it's green. If it's red, it means your behavior tree is not running. So double check that, make sure it's running. It probably is. It's quite a hard one to miss, that one. But more times than not, it's the nav mesh that's the problem. You can also see its perception. What else could it be? If you're spawning them in rather than dragging them in, make sure that in your class defaults you have turned on the auto process AI to be both placed in world or spawned. Trying to think what else. The obvious ones. They're the main ones. Let me know if you've tried all those and there's still no dice. Next question. If you're just joining us, all you have to do is put your question into chat and we'll answer them in the hour or so that we are here. Hayes, how can you change the NMBP like if you want to do different attack combos based on the equipped weapon? For example, a dagger/sword. Yeah, again, I can't do the whole thing, but I can show you the gist of it. So if I go into the animation blueprints for this thing. So you got a few options, as there's quite a few ways of doing it. One such way is that you have a state machine for your attacks or whatever being used, and you can cache all these up, and then you can do blend by enum. So the way I've done it before is have an enum, which is like what kind of weapon you're holding. So it's a stave, daggers, sword, gun, whatever. And when you equip the gun or whatever, it changes it in animation blueprint what that is, and then use blend by. What you can do here, you see blend by, and you can put an enum in, and it's pretty simple. You put it in. Oh, I ain't made one. Pick an example. Okay, so you put that in, you right click, and you can choose what enum you want to include, and it can blend between them smoothly. So I have separate states or separate caches set up for those poses, doing all that, and that can be happening here, and it can also happen inside of the state machine itself. So you can either do separate state machines or do one big one, and inside the big one you go into, say, the locomotion, and you do the blend here. So this one would go into that one, and then the other one would go into that one, and so forth. So you can do blend by poses like that if you want. That usually works quite well. Next one. Sunny, I'm currently making my first proper project after following lots of your videos and making tweaks of my own. I'm basing it off of Guild Wars 1 for now. I've seen you reference Guild Wars 2 before. Glad to see you've played it before. Excellent game. Have you played much World versus World and PvP? I played a bit of it, yeah, when I was playing Guild Wars, and I was playing it around about the time it launched. Not much longer after that. I think I saw the first patch, and that was it. I'd like to go back to it, as I did enjoy it. And I enjoyed I love the art style of it, like the design of the levels and world. Maybe one day I'll go back to it. One day. Alexander, hi Ryan, I want to say thank you very much for the videos you've made. They've helped a lot, especially the shopkeeper crafting inventory tutorials. The latest inventory system is great. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Dennis Shindo, hi Ryan, can you make an AI that takes you to a location and will stop moving if you aren't close enough to it? Yeah, sure. So we've got this guy over here. We'll do a very simple behavior tree for him. Very simple one. We'll just tell him to I need to give him a thing to go to, don't I? Okay. So, okay. Selector. Do move to. There. We'll add a blackboard to this as well. Or add a key for this vector. Vector key. Right, it's called vector key. And do that one. Okay. So we're going to move to vector key. Like so. And my enemy here, I'm just going to do a very simple thing on him. Sun's here. You alright? You want to wear a hat? In the car, yeah. I ain't got a hat, sorry. Why don't you go to bed? Why don't you go upstairs and find mummy? Want me to close the window? Oh, I ain't got the hat. You close the window? 1 second, guys. Ugh. There you go. Lay down. Go sleep. Taking a mic now. And don't touch my Lego. Anyway. Right, so what I was going to do, yes, I was going to add onto him a vector key. Yeah, and I want to make this editable and show 3D widget. Like so. And what this to do is it allows me to pick a location in the world. It saves time. And on begin play, we'll do set. Oh wait, get AI controller. World actor itself. Turn value blackboard. And we're going to do set vector value as vector. Key name. Make literal name. And we're going to put in vector key. And the vector value will be this variable that we got down here. So if you don't know what this does, basically, I'll be able to go into the world, click on this little vector here, and move this little diamond. And I can put it anywhere in the level, and you should run to it. Put it over there, for example. Oh, I've got time to actually play the behavior tree. My bad. Oops. Wait for it now to finish doing its thing. You're touching my Lego. You know. Get down. No. Got a toy. No. Sneaky. So right, let's go back to this. Yeah, I need to get him to run the behavior tree. AI controller, run behavior tree. Okay. Right, very simplified version. Okay, so he should just walk over to it. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. This vector is local. I need to make it world. Sorry, my bad. So I need to transform location from local space to world space. Get actor transform, and that'll fix that for me. So off he goes to that location. Okay, right. So for this, I'm gonna make him go a bit smaller, slower. Get rid of that widget as well. I said it's not a toy. Fine. Yours is mine. Could be asleep. Where to put it? I'll put it down here. Okay, I don't... Anyway, right, so because last time he broke it and I had to fix it. Right, yeah, make him go slower. So character movement, max walk speed, we'll do 150. Okay. Right, so all of that done, he can now walk to that spot. Okay, so we want to make him so he only walks when I'm near him. So what you're going to do is go to the behavior tree, and on this move to, you can do it here or on the selector or sequence, whatever you're doing it on. I'll do it on here. We're going to add a decorator to it, and we're going to do is at location. And the is at location, we want to check the player character. Now, who they should be following. Now, at the moment, we don't have a key for that, so we need to make a key. Go new key, object, player, and we'll change the key type here to an actor. So, and then on is at location, I can choose the player key. Now, is at location is a decorator in that it will only do this. It will only do this if that key is near that so if this AI is near that location, in this case the player, and you've got acceptable radius. Now this radius would be how far you can be for this to actually work. So let's say we do this at 300. Okay, all I have to do now is give our thing a player key, which I'm going to do on the begin play here again. So set value as object, get player character, plug that in, make literal, call it player. So now it should only walk towards that spot when I'm near it. So it's not going anywhere near it now. If I walk away, I'll go walk away. Hold on, I've got to take it to observe it. Hold on. Yeah, so on here we need to tell this thing to oh, does it not have the abort option? Oh, that's a problem. Okay. Way around that, way around that. So usually these decorators have an abort option up here, so you can tell it when this changes it aborts, but what could we do instead? I guess we could do a crap. I'll tell you what we'll do is that location there. Oh, hold on, I can't do it there. I have to do a back to there. Okay. So is that location goes onto there? No, no. I can do it that way. Sorry, my bad. Is that location there? Sorry, and then do another move too, and leave it as self actor. So you're only going to move to his one. So if that location is there, true, they'll do that, but then it won't leave that, will it? Ah, bummer. Don't touch it. Now. Good. We go up to bed now. Too cheeky. To see little hand in my peripheral and in the webcam footage. Right. Yeah, okay, so we've got a problem here. How can I do this? I mean, there's a long way around it. I wouldn't like to do it, but I guess I would have to. Crap, we have to do a long way around it. Or we can make a custom decorator. That actually might be an idea. New decorator. Remains. I'll have to put remains. Okay, so this thing, you have an override condition check. So this is the first thing it does. It does a check to see whether or not you're in range or something. So I want to check whether or not I'm in range of a blackboard key. So get blackboard value as actor. Key make literal, or make rather than not make literal. And this will be called player. And it's the controlled pawn distance to this one here is less than or equal to promoted variable range. Put that into there. Okay, so this is the first thing it does. It does this check. We'll compile that and give it a default of 300. Now, if I can put that on my behavior tree, I can go add decorator remains. This will only move if I'm in range of it. Okay. But as you can see, it still has the same problem where it doesn't do another check. So what you have to do is back on that remains thing here. You're going to go to functions, override. You're going to do tick AI, I believe. And you're basically doing the same thing over there. So I'm going to copy this, put it on here, controlled pawn. And if that is true, or false rather, we're going to abort this. No, not abort. What is it called? Finish. No. Ah, crap. What's it called? I've forgotten how we break this down. Or can we just do perform condition check again? Done. Hang on, I cannot remember. UE for decorators. Now, if I remember rightly, the documentation for decorators was kind of pants. Sure, it hasn't been updated since, so I'm guessing it's still. Right. Custom decorators. Observer aborts. Oh, it has a. Aha. Observer aborts. Okay. Self. I have to tell it to observe something now. Set observer. No. That's annoying. I do not remember this. Is there a fresh UE4 inventory tutorial? There's a UE5 one, and it works the same in UE4, so you can use that one if you want. Hang on. Is it not on there, is it? No, just abort self. Should be able to pick the thing we're observing. Unless it already does that check for this, maybe. I don't know. Let's check. Oh, it is. I gotta say, wasting all my time. Yeah, it already works. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, you don't have to do observer reports because it already exists on the thing. Don't need to do that. Bye bye. So the observer, it's always doing that. Should whatever it's called, should perform condition check. It's always doing that, and you set the observer reports up here. Cool. Right, done. Right, moving on. So that works fine, as you can see. Do that, and he will stop moving if I get too far away. One third thing you can do is make this range thing here editable. Then on my behavior tree, I can set the range value on here as I wish. 600, for example. So now he can go last further away. Yeah. And you can do some interesting things, like, for example, I can put another remains on this one here. Remains. Oh, I need to put another selector in. Okay. And you put this selector in at 300 and this one at 600. So what this means is that he won't start moving until I'm really close to him, and then he will stop moving when he gets. He's gone on the floor and he's on. Wait. Head. Then in the fall asleep now. Yeah. So if I set the first one here to 300, the second one here to 600, and this one won't abort, none. Okay. So I only do this if I'm in 300, and then it will stop if I'm 600 away. So basically, I have to get up close to him for it to start moving, and he can go further before he stops. Okay, so you can do some cool stuff with that. Anywho, right, moving on. George, leave it alone. Obsessed with this damn Ghostbusters one. George. No, not for you. It's for me. Go to sleep. Anywho, next question. Hi Ryan, I'm making a third-person shooter, but I can't get my character to aim at the center of the screen. Is there a simple fix for that? Simple, no, but yes, there is a way to do it. So, if you want your player character in third-person mode to aim at the screen, let me take this off and this stuff off before we go further. Yep. I need to put tick back on. Okay. And we're going to do a line trace. Okay, so I'm going to show you the initial problem that people have with this. In that a common use for doing something like this is that you have this setup. Get player location. Sorry, get actor location. Upstairs. But if I give you those, will you go upstairs? No. He is so annoying. Yeah, so we get the active location, and you want to do a a line trace from the center of the screen. Sorry, not active location. Get player camera manager, and we usually get the actor location for that and put that in as the start, and then we get the forward vector of that and multiply that by the range. But there is a slight problem with this one. Oh. Let me just add that onto there. Okay, let's put in 5,000. Okay, so I'm going to put on the debug for this for one frame. So this is the initial problem people have with this method, in that the line trace is coming from the camera. Okay, it is going right there. You can barely see it probably, but it's hard to see because obviously it's coming from the camera. Problem this has though is that anything that comes in between the player and the camera will also get detected by this, so we don't want that, and we want it to come from the player character. Now if your camera's right behind the character, no problem, but usually in third-person games your camera is like this, where it's up and to the right a little bit, like this. Okay, so again, it's correct, it is in the center of the screen, you can see the red square, but again, anything that happens between me and the player will also get detected, so we can't do that. So what it comes next is you actually want it to start at the actor's location. So do actor location, and you're going to plug that into the start there. So now it starts at the actor's location itself and then goes towards the center of the screen, which is the direction the camera's in. But there's a problem with that. I go and push play. At before, where the actor location and all that goes into here, you get that dead straight line that we're going to use for our next line trace, which should be the same thing. Just copy this, paste this down here, but this time is not going to be the forward vector. Sorry, just want to get to location. Endpoint will be the location of this hit here. So this is the dead straight line that's going from the camera's point of view. We're just getting that to get the endpoint, which is this, and then we're plugging it into this one here. So if I were to change the color of this one to blue, apple, we should see you've got two traces going on. We've got a red one and a blue one. And the blue one's going to the center of the screen the whole entire time now, along with the red one. But you can see that the red one's like shifting around. Yeah. And the blue one's coming from the player character. So that red one is our camera. The blue one's coming from the player character. And that way you'll always get the center of the screen. So if you're doing shooting, no matter the distance, whatever distance it is, it's always going to be the center. Stream is pretty laggy. Let's see if I can do something about that. Oh, yeah. My OneDrive has decided to start syncing things up. Let's pause that syncing. Let me show that again, hopefully with a better... So, we've got two line traces. One is determining the end point of the second line trace, and the other one is the second line trace, which is the one that actually matters. So, that one's coming from the player character out into the world, to the center of the screen. Okay? And that's it. That's what we're doing. Okay, so double check, go through this again, double it. So the first line trace here, we're using the camera to determine the center of the screen. It's getting camera's forward vector and projecting out into the world. That gets us the end location, where the hit is. And that's going to be our end point of our second line trace, which is the one that matters. This is the one where you do like damage and things like that on it. And it starts at the player's location and then goes over to that hit location. That's how you get a perfectly centered third person line trace. Okay, next. Irish K Studios. How would you go about making the loading screen? Would it involve having a persistent level parenting the actual levels? So loading screens are basically you're basically showing a widget on the screen, an image on the screen, and then behind the scenes is where it's doing the loading of the assets and compiling all that stuff. Now, the problem you have is if you're doing Blueprint only, you're not going to have access to anything that can check the load of assets. Okay, so there's no way to say like when you're 50%, 100% done, whatever. You can't check that. There's no way of doing it. So you can help hide that load by putting a load screen in and hiding the ugly loading if you want, and put it on a timer. But obviously, it's not actually accurate. If you want an accurate load screen, you're going into the C++ side of things. Or using a plugin. There's a free one on the marketplace that I'd check out if I were you. It's free, very easy to set up, very easy to use, and it works and does the job. Happy New Year. Study. How would I go about doing a lawnmower mechanic? Would I work with foliage or static meshes to replace the long grass mesh with the short grass mesh? Materials, actually. How's the stream looking now? Is it still pretty laggy? Let me know. Turned out it was my OneDrive trying to sync up everything. But I've turned it off now. Hopefully. Okay. So, I don't know if we're going to have time to do this one. Hang on. Let me go into... what would be a good example to do this on? So, for example... oops. So the grass material would be, I mean, not green color. Oops. But the vertex position of it is going to. I don't really have access to the vertex position. The world position offset is the thing that's going to work with you. I guess I could use a gradient. Hang on. So if I make this a cube, for example, see this working. If I get a gradient, linear gradient, and we want a V, so vertical gradient, and we want to put that into there. Now, immediately, not much is going to happen, but if I multiply this by a value, so let's say 100, I'm hoping the top half of it would go somewhere else, but that's not the case. Oh, no, sorry. I need to do the vector. Sorry, my bad. ZV1. Kind of. So the issue it has is that this best use a plane really. So you can't basically, it's hard to do. I don't have the things I need. But you need an asset that's got flat UV shaded. So and you just what you'd have is you can change this value. Now this value obviously is static here. But the way you do it with a lawnmower mechanic is you can draw yourself to a render target. And this is how we do snow and things like that. And when you're doing that, you're drawing to a render target and then using that as a texture to help do this. So, for example, also you need high oh no, I guess you could. No, hang on. You could probably do it with the landscape grass mechanic tool. I don't know. I'll need to look into it and how you could do it with that. You could probably do it with the landscape grass mechanic tool. Basically, when you walk around, you want to leave a mask behind you and draw to that mask. I think I've got videos on it how to do it. Say like do drawings and things like that in your games, and it draws your position onto a render target, and you can use that render target as a mask. And that mask will then affect that value going up and down. If you apply it to the landscape grass mechanic, it in theory won't. It will take away the grass values, but I don't know how well that will do it. I'll have to experiment and try something like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll turn it off for you, okay. So I'll come back to that. There might be a poll video at some point when we get our patrons and YouTube members to vote for a video. That might be an interesting one to do there. Quite involved. I need to look into making it work with landscape grass mechanic. Yeah. Next question. Dennis, hi Ryan. This question might need a tutorial all on its own, but is it possible to make a skill tree system where skills can be purchased with points and also making the skills savable so when you open a new level, unlocked skills remain unlocked? Of course it is. it will involve a whole tutorial on its own, as it's quite involved. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say now, but yes, you can do it. I've been doing it recently with a Patreon member that I do sessions with frequently. He's got a skill tree system in his game, and we and get that working no problem. So maybe, yeah, well, it will probably will be a video at some point, a series at one point. I don't know when. Mohammed, hello. How to make part of an object a soft body? Out of the box, it does not support soft body, but I believe there are plugins you can use that do that. And I don't know, and you have to consult the plugin direct documentation for that. But there's no like built-in soft body physics stuff. Just like chaos destruction stuff and clothing. Shimo, been watching inventory series you're doing. I was wondering if you would do a video on a hotbar like most survival games where you can use a scroll or numbers to access resources or tools. Yes, we could do. I've thought about adding not a hotbar but like a quick select thing. But that could easily be transferred to a hotbar thing if you wanted to make it a hotbar. But yeah, we may add a video to it at the end. It's technically finished, but we can go back and add more video content if we need to. Leonardo, Ryan, how can I create an overview level? What do you mean by an overview level, Leonardo? Can you just elaborate a little bit? Chris, when player character jumps on top of AI or gets attacked by AI, there is sometimes a bouncing knockback. Is there a setting I'm missing to reduce that from happening when they interact? Okay, so if you go, I believe there is. Go to the character movement component. Where is it? I swear I've seen it. So it's this one. Jump off, jump Z factor, 0.5. This is the automatic jumping off of things like AI, other things you can't stand on, things like that. It'll bounce you off. That's that value there. So just tweak this 0.5 value and jump off, jump Z velocity. It's the advanced option for jumping. That'll be what you want. Last question for the night from Dennis. Can you show how to make a minimap like in GTA? I've got a video series all about that. One of the first ones I've done actually. So you can start going through that if you want that all set up. Obviously the GTA map is massive and has lots of stuff in it. So it'll take some time to get your head around how to do it. And messing about with it. Yeah. Overview level of my 3D asset for my Unreal Marketplace. An overview level. You just play. If I know what you're asking, I think you're asking like how can you demo your assets in Unreal? You just place them into your scene. Just drag them into your scene and decorate it if you want. I don't know what assets you're referring to and what you're doing. Alexander, is it okay to ask about multiplayer? Yeah, of course it is. Try to make a farming game, but when client side is planting crops, the crops and the growth phase are only visible on the client side. Same goes for server side. So when you plant something, the planting action must happen on the server, not the client. The client's not actually doing anything. They're just asking for permission. I want to plant something here, and the server goes, okay, plops it down. So the server then keeps track of that and running that information across. The client is not actually planting anything, okay? The server is handling all that code. They just ask for permission. Vinny, in a lobby, what's the best approach to replicate a press key to change team color variable? Should I replicate with a notifier or use a custom event for that? So yeah, you could do a rep notify if you want. That's totally okay. That might be the easiest thing to do, as you can just set up because it'll be the server changing anyway. If you don't know, rep notifiers are is a function that gets called whenever a replicated variable changes, but only when the server changes it. If a client changes it, nothing happens, but if a server does, then everyone will run the code. Rentcar, hey, Patreon sub here. Are we getting any more FPS RPG tutorials? It's getting remade at some point, as it was going poorly in the direction I didn't like, and yeah, bad place for it. So it's going to get remade at some point. I don't know exactly when. I want it to be in a position where I can just unload the whole thing at once. So to TBD. Ibrahim, how do you dynamically place nav links on a level without having to place manually? I mean, it depends heavily on what kind of things you're doing with your level design, really. But if you're placing objects like ledges, oh, pardon me. How would you do that? You'll need some sort of ledge detection in your game and in the procedural generation of it to place these nav links in. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Short answer, I don't know exactly. Long answer, it probably has something to do with the procedural generation and making it so when you're part of that process is detecting ledges, things like that, and putting nav links in. There may be an actual better way of doing it, handling how they can climb up stuff and navigate stuff. Because the navigation, like for example, in here, you could, I mean, if you're doing like Minecraft style, where they could climb up and down to all the ledges anyway, regardless of what's going on, you could go into the navigation mesh and go to agent max slope is 44. Well, you back that up to 89, and you can, I wonder if you can type it in actually higher. 5? No, 89 is a max. And step height is obviously you can change that to as well, so you change it to 100 for example. And now I put that in, I'll probably have to move it, I think. Refresh it. It should, oh, way higher. Yeah, so it doesn't see here this is a obstacle, it just wants to climb over it. Okay, same with this one. You can see over here, it doesn't see this as obstacle. It would want to climb up it. So you can do things like that and do manual ledge detection stuff. And again, if I increase that size further, you can probably do a bit further stuff on it. So you can probably mess about with that. But again, it heavily depends on what kind of things you're doing for your level design. No problem, Tay. Thank you. Good luck with the new home. You're welcome, Leonardo. As say for your overview, just plug it into your scene. If you want to do a like panning camera, you can easily do that. You can make a level sequence up if you do a video recording of it. So if I go into there, make a level, and I'm going to add a camera to it. This little camera icon, there it is. And we're going to go in here. We go add key for transform, set start position, and halfway position. We'll go around this way. Another key, and then around here. Key there. Okay, and now I've got a whole sequence of my camera flying around the scene. I have to fix some rotation things, so rotations are nutty. But yeah, that's the simplest thing you can do. You can do. There's one thing you can do. No. Just have to go. No, that'd be it for that. Benedict Uma, how do you handle missions? So depends heavily on the complexity of the missions and what you want to do with them. But to help you with that, on Patreon at the moment releasing is the new quest system, and basically missions are quests. Except, like for example, you're on if say playing Call of Duty, that level has one quest but many objectives in it. That's the level, so you can totally do that way. But it's a quest system essentially. Just how you present it is different. That's all. So you can follow the previous quest system to handle that, or you can, if you're a Patreon member, you can watch the latest ones on that. There's like 5 or 6 of them at the moment. Hey Ryan, can you show how to do multiplayer animations for combat moves like punching? For example, hitting another player with a punch on a server. Not quickly, but basically all you're doing is your punches are probably montages, and you have to replicate that condition over. So let's say, for example, you have a custom event in here, which is attack. Okay, and that's your local attack that you want to do. What that's going to do is going to do another custom event, and this is going to be the server call for attacking, and that be replicated on the server. So this attack will call the server version of the attack. Okay, and that one will do the play montage on a multicast. So now you do another multicast attack, and that will do a multicast play montage. Okay, but this one would call the MC. Now there's one slight issue with this, is that on the player side, the client side, this server call, that server call's doing from 1 to 2 there, so that's one travel of data. Then you've got a multicast going back to it over here, so that's 2 sets of travels. So it would go there and back again. You would actually see the attack. So what we tend to do is we do the play montage on the server as well at the start, and tell it not to do it on the attack here. If you just do is locally controlled, and tell it not to do this. So if it's not locally controlled, do that. So that way the client plays the animation at the start when I push the button. So if it's quite a fast moving game, hit the button, you see the attack straight away. But the impact of the attack, the actual damage being dealt, is going to be handled by the server, and everyone else is going to see it maybe a slight delay depending on how the lag is. But that's typically how it goes. Multicast is Unreal 4 as well. Gabriel, is there a simple way to replicate a level sequence to all players at the same time? Tell the server to multicast the playing of it. Just multicast play sequence. Benedict Uma, is the quest system the same as how a game like GTA and Uncharted do missions? Continuous story with replayable missions. I mean, like, you can make them replayable. Yeah, it's not too difficult to do. Yeah, it handles all that. So it has the same features as my old quest system does, but it includes a lot neater and tidier system of handling it, as well as the ability to save and load it. We can put in other things into it as well. It's still in development, so we can put in more stuff like repeatable quests if that's something people want. Yeah. We're going to do one more question, and then we're going to call it an evening. Let's take a look at one more question. Hey Ryan, could you please show how to do full animations and full damage? I've already got a video on that. Check it out on full damage. I've already got that there. Yeah, pretty simple. You just measure the velocity of when you hit the ground. You have an on landed, basically. And here you just get the velocity when you land, and then do damage based upon that velocity. Right, really? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for a great question time this evening. Hopefully you got some questions answered and learned at least one thing new tonight. We are back again live on Saturday, and Saturday we're doing a live stream, a live class all about the landscape tool and creating landscapes inside of Unreal Engine. So join us on Saturday at 9 p.m. UTC, and that's UK time for those who don't know UTC. Thank you very much everyone for watching. If you want to support me, head over to patreon.com/RyanLady, where this VOD of this stream will be up right away, and everyone else will get it 2 weeks later. Thank you again for checking it out, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye everyone.